Nowadays, people are experimenting with their style more than ever. I'm one of those people, and you know, there's a lot of things that I never would have thought that I would have ever worn. And recently, my friend Nick decided that we should talk about the things that we never thought we would wear. So this is Nick from Stridewise. For those of you who don't know, Nick has his own channel on YouTube, one that inspired actually this channel here. And you know, I grew up watching Nick from Stridewise for years and years. Specifically, he has a bunch of raw denim content, but more so it's you know, a lot of leather goods and a lot of, you know, heritage style menswear. And both of our styles have completely changed since we've been in the fashion game, yours especially a lot. And I think, you know, it's funny, we were just talking, like, I feel like you dress more fun now than ever, really, you know? And
yeah,
that's not a backhanded compliment, by the way. That's, you know.
I'm the king of making fun of past me. But like, yeah, there's certainly more things I'm more comfortable wearing now, which again, that kind of led to this video. You know,
yeah.
Like stuff I never kind of thought I'd wear, because especially both of our channels are really focused on the casual side of things and like casual and durable stuff. And it's sort of like, it's never like that long until, you know, you'll go from boots and then you might wind up in derbies, and then you'll be wondering like derbies versus Oxfords, and then you'll like, there's this casual side.
And that's kind of like the point about, like, you know, the style journey. Like on my channel, we talk a lot about like the style journey and kind of breaking these rules and everything. It's like, you really want to try and experiment with things, you know, you want to develop your palette, and you never know until you give it a shot. And you know, now that I've kind of started wearing a lot of things that I never would have seen myself wearing, I feel like I've expanded that palette more than ever, and I'm having more fun in fashion than I ever have before in my life.
Yeah, no, I am as well. And then I'm always like wondering if I'm gonna alienate my viewers, who I'm like, we're only jeans and boots around here.
Right.
We'll start the list. The first thing for me, it's a tie. I just never thought I'd wear a tie.
Yeah.
There's a couple reasons for this. The first, this is embarrassing, but a tie. I grew up in Australia. School uniforms are much more common in Australia than they are in America, even in public schools. When I went to school, I had to wear a tie every day. And nothing's gonna turn you off wearing a tie for the rest of your life than being forced to wear one.
Quite literally,
age, like 10 to 18. And even after school, you know, I never did a corporate job. And honestly, I had a friend say that a tie is just an inverted noose that you will eventually hang yourself with anyway. It's just a sign of self-defeat and you know, conforming to the man and all sorts of kind of stuff.
Right.
So I spent many years, you know, I don't know, I was a teacher, I was a journalist, I was all these jobs where I was like, I'm not wearing a tie.
Yeah.
And then, you know, there were some pretty good deals on Black Friday on like Todd Snyder. This is Shantung silk. If you look at it real close, it's very slubby. And I don't know, I got like 3 ties between Black Friday and Christmas. And it's literally the first time I've ever worn a tie on purpose.
It's funny because I've always been into ties. Like literally, even when I was like in middle school, I was wearing ties just because I liked it. But you know, I guess it's like everyone has their own kind of perspective, and I've heard a lot of people say the same thing that you've said. Like it reminds them of when they were growing up in school. I wasn't forced to wear a tie to school. I went to public school in New York, and you know, we were able to wear whatever we wanted. I feel like the tie, from my perspective, it is an accessory that demands like a certain level of respect. You know,
yeah, you know, I think part of why I started thinking about it was I stumbled on one of those gentleman YouTube channels, you know, which is not mine, not my thing, but they had this line that like wearing a tie is a sign of respect for the person that you're with. Like if you meet someone out and you're wearing a tie, it's like, oh, he's actually pretty.
Yeah, like he's taking this seriously.
Yeah, cool. He wants to. Yeah, he's taking it seriously being out with me. And it's also honestly like I started getting more into tweed. I won't say tweed is one of the
tweed
things
is another one, huh?
Well, I won't say that's something I never thought I would wear. I mean, I guess I never thought about it, but it was more that once I started learning that a lot of what we consider business casual is still very hard wearing and durable, which is like what I like that. I don't have to baby my clothes, that kind of stuff. And like tweed, as you guys might know, that was originally like an outdoor, you know, country fabric for going shooting and that sort of stuff. You can
especially like the old tweeds, like you could literally
and like relative like a nice suit, you can ball up a tweed sports jacket in your bag and
throw it
like
in the
whatever.
bag.
So I was like, oh, okay, so tweed is cooler than I thought it was. So I bought some tweed. And Oxford cloth button down is also like, that's a dressier fabric, but it's still like very hard wearing and you have to iron it. And it's like, all right. And so I started doing the Oxford cloth button down and the tweed sports jacket. And I'm standing in front of the mirror without a tie, and I'm like, I just feel schlubby. I don't feel dressy at all. Like I needed a tie
to kind of bring
it together. Yeah, because it's all casual, even though today it isn't at all.
Well, that's
but like
still
like everything leans too far casual. You gotta get the tie just to bring it back from the edge. And then it's business casual. And without that, it's just kind of.
And it's funny because this type of style is like, it's got its like own subculture in fashion.
Yeah.
And it's got like its own like rabbit hole that you could go down, because even just like tweed in itself, like there's the Horace tweeds. They're not exactly tweeds, but like the Donegal's, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
there's
And
a
some
huge...
of it, sometimes it's nylon with the flex.
Exactly,
Sometimes
yeah.
it's actually wool, not nylon,
Yeah.
and that's a whole thing.
Exactly, and it's, you know, there's so much that goes into that type of stuff, and I love it, you know, and I'm so happy to see you like go deep like into that kind of style.
Yeah.
Because I mean, this looks great, dude, really.
Yeah.
But speaking about like hardware and like fabrics and stuff, like I personally never thought that I would end up wearing corduroy. Like that was a big thing. Like
I still can't wear corduroy. That's on my no-wear list.
that's so funny because like growing up, like corduroy was like one of those things like, yeah, I saw like my dad wear it, or I saw like the older generation when I was younger, like wearing corduroy, and there was just that kind of connotation that it's an old man fabric. And you know, I was ignorant, and I didn't have like the, you know, sensibility to say like, this is actually a really cool fabric, you know what I mean? Like it's easy to wear, it gives a nice texture, it's easy care. And you know, the sheen that it gives off, it's almost velvety. It's got like a buttery, soft kind of touch. And you know, from what I understand, making corduroy and making velvet is almost similar. It is very hard wearing. This is actually harder wearing than velvet. There's nothing wrong with it, with a nice corduroy, and I was just ignorant. I never thought I would see myself wearing corduroy. And it's just one of my favorite go-tos. I love wearing it with like a denim shirt or even just a t-shirt. I think you should give corduroy a try, dude. I mean,
You know, it's my first memory of ever having to dress up was going to my babysitter's wedding when I was like 6, and my parents put me in corduroy pants and a bow tie. And so
see that, I feel like that's
well,
cool.
now
Yeah.
that would look really cool, but at the time it's like, I hate, what am I wearing? Bow tie, all right, that's it. These are I'm swearing them off. And I
Yeah,
still got
right.
like some genetic, some background hatred of corduroy.
Bow ties are off the list too?
You know, I never say never, I guess.
Yeah, right, at this
That's what
point.
we've learned.
At this point?
Yeah. Something else, sort of a similar vein I never thought I'd wear is, tassel loafers. Yeah, I mean, it's important to note that as an Australian, the landscape's a little bit different there in that, like, there's just a lot of stuff we don't really have. Like, boots, like, most people have never seen a boot that's not a Chelsea boot. And as far
In
as...
Australia, you said?
Yeah, we just do Chelsea's, that's it.
That's all you guys do?
For boots, yeah, that's it. For shoes to wear with a suit, it's like, you know, it'll be an Oxford or a Derby or something, but like, loafers are just not really so much of a thing, you know? And the only thing that basically isn't, you know, Oxford Derby or Chelsea boot is a boat shoe. And that's still in my, like, I'm never wearing a boot. Because it was just like, that's just...
You're not touching the boat
It's all
shoes
what
at
all the
all?
jocks wore, you know?
Yeah.
Loafers just never even came into my mind. And then when I came to the US and I got exposed to this other side of menswear, you know, like all the really cool heritage workwear stuff and the selvage denim and the Gucci welted boots and the mock toes and all this stuff
Right.
that just doesn't exist in Australia, which is why I got so excited about it at an older age, which is
Yeah.
why I started the business, because, you know, everyone else was already, they've seen it their whole life, not that interesting to me.
Yeah.
Me, it was very interesting. Still, loafers, if you've never seen loafers really growing up much, let alone a tassel loafer, which I think is also like a very American, this is an American invention, the tassel loafer
Right.
as well, so it's a particularly American kind of shoe. And also, yeah, again, I didn't have to ever wear a suit and tie, so I never had to think about dress shoes all that much, or dressier shoes. But anyway, all of which is to say, for many reasons, it took a long time for me to start wearing loafers, and actually I quite enjoy them. It's kind of
Yeah.
fun to not have laces. I mean, that's Chelsea boots. That's my Australian thing. I'm like, I
Oh
gotta
my
find
God.
some way to get around like this. So this is how I wound up here.
Yeah. Another thing that I never really saw myself wearing, and like this is a big one, baggy jeans and like oversized clothing. Like that's huge. There's no doubt
You're
that
Gen Z though. What do you mean?
But the thing is, like, when we were growing up, like everything when it came to like celebrities and like fashion, especially like going to fashion school in New York, which is what I did, like everything was about like getting as close to the skin as possible. And you know, that was just what we were bred on, you know what I'm saying? We were raised on the slimmest, skinniest possible things. And not just that, but I feel like it was even more extreme than any other trend, because at that time we had the influx of social media. It was the first time social media blew up, and then we had, you know, the introduction of the influencer, and that was the first time influencing was a thing. And all of these influencers, you know, they weren't necessarily industry professionals. It was just guys that were kind of regurgitating what they saw over and over and over again, doing all the same thing. And that's why, you know, everything was pretty much all of the same kind of style fit at that time, from, you know, 2014 to like 2020, you know, and even now still some guys, you know, it's the super skinny light wash jeans with like, you know, the scallop t-shirt and like the Chelsea boots. Like that was the quintessential like outfit, you know what I mean? And that was what we were bred on, you know? But now like we have so much diversity in clothing. We have so much more knowledge when it comes to fashion history, and not just guys that are showing whatever they're showing on Instagram or just trying to influence just to influence. Like you have actual people who know about fashion. You have people like Stridewise, you have people like me, you have people like, you know, Michael over at the Iron Snail, see Drew Joyner, like you have people that know what they're talking about. And you know, I love this notion that you can pretty much wear whatever you want these days. And you know, there is a time and place and a style for baggier silhouettes, wider silhouettes, like real emphatic styles. And I never thought that I would wear that again. Because also growing up too, like that style was associated with a particular type of, you know, connotation that, oh, you're a delinquent, this, that, and the third, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
like, whole
I didn't know if
too.
you even have memories of this, because I've definitely got memories at the turn of the millennium.
Yeah.
That was an era where baggy clothes were, the pants were literally pulled down past your butt. You still see that sometimes, but like, that's when that was the default.
Well, dude, I mean, everybody was doing it, especially here in New York. I was doing it. You know, I used to wear my pants literally around my knees. Like my whole boxers would show, and that was, you know, what was going on in high school. This is, you know, just the honest truth, you know? So, of course, I was going to gravitate towards the stark contrast of that and kind of renounce what was, you know, but there is a way to do it that, you know, it can look good.
Yeah, I mean, as long as like your pants are on your waist.
Yes.
It's like, for me, I've been wearing, as a millennial, it was sort of like in high school, the pants past the butt thing was a thing, and then you know, in my 20s, yeah, guys tend to wear pretty slim pants, right? And so I kind of defaulted to that place as well. And I've like really just this year been buying my first like straight leg jeans, like kind of since forever, right? And that's not proper Gen Z super wide, but it's even that's like a big change for me. And I've got a few other pants that are a little bit wider in the leg, because that's getting more in style now. But of course, the style now is wide leg, but with a nice high waist.
So that's the thing.
And it actually it's on your body, right? And so for me, I don't know if it's the same for everyone else, because I see pretty loose pants out there. But for me, it's like I'm fine with it being as loose as whatever on the legs, so long as it's like flush against the butt. And, and the waist isn't all wrinkled. You know what I mean? Like, if it's like if it's the kind of big, and this especially happens when it's not a natural fabric, if there's like synthetics in it.
Yeah,
it kind of
you get like
off the butt a bit, and that just makes the butt look bigger than it is.
Yeah.
And it's like, so long as it's against the butt, the legs can do whatever they want, but the butt's gonna.
You like a true.
The butt must be respected.
Yeah.
This is something I never thought I'd wear. Now, part of this is because I grew up in the tropics, so you know, even you'd wear a jacket a couple times a year. That was it. So that was one reason. But yeah, also it's its own thing, the turtleneck. But this company, Patrick James, they sent me this.
Shout out to Patrick James.
Shout out to Patrick James. And honestly, the main reason I was like, yeah, I could try a black turtleneck is because, here we go. Now that I've got all these tweed sports coats, but yeah, a little black turtleneck under
it looks
tweed
great.
Looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's I don't know, maybe it's a little 90s.
Very sophisticated, it's a very sophisticated look, and it's simple. But speaking of like tailoring, another thing that I never thought I would ever wear. Dude, I never thought that I would wear anything double-breasted.
That's my dad is all double. Yeah. I still don't think I could do that. Because like the first like prom I went to, I was just wearing my dad's much too big suit. It was double-breasted. It was like the early 2000s.
Probably
but still,
cool now.
It was a suit from the 90s. You know?
Yeah.
And yeah, I associate that too closely with dad. Although obviously I'm perfectly comfortable becoming my dad.
But that's what I'm saying. It's skipping generations. Like when it comes to like the fashion trend cycle, like fashion trends, like they come back like every 20 years or so is like the general rule of thumb, even though now things are speeding up. And now like every shoot that I'm like making for myself is pretty much double-breasted. I have a double-breasted here today that we're shooting for B-roll. I mean, I love double-breasted, and not just.
I see double-breasted getting more popular. I still have such a pushback against it, just because like that's what my dad, he like used to like rent ovens for a living. I thought it was the most boring thing in the entire world. He wore that suit. I'm like, that's just so boring and depressing. This whole thing, the suit, the ovens, the tie, I don't have anything to do with it.
Yeah, dude, double-breasted, like I love double-breasted, even for like overcoats. Like, do you have a double-breasted overcoat?
I got a pea coat, which that counts, right?
Yeah, that would count.
Yeah, I get that.
That would count.
Yeah. I mean, it's a bit. I mean, it's a great pea coat. Here's the thing with double-breasted stuff. I think also what comes into it is that, you know, I was a teenager when The Matrix came out. All of a sudden, like a nice long open coat that I'm obsessed with.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, with double-breasted, if it's a suit, if it's a trench coat, if it's a pea coat, you gotta have it buttoned up. You can't just walk around with it open or just a barn door. So I think that's also part of, this is my theory why I think millennials took a while to glom onto double-breasted stuff, because it's like, no, but the Matrix.
Yeah.
I want to flow around.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
But yeah, no, you look great in yours though. I really, it's like,
Thank you.
I see those and it's like, going, why do I hate double-breasted stuff so much?
But yeah, I mean, that just goes to show it's like, you know, fashion is never definitive, and you know, there's so many styles that you might not like now that you might end up liking later in life, and you know, a lot of that has to do with not just exposure, but just also you know, a lot of personal things that go on. You know, it just goes to show we might end up wearing super skinny jeans again at some point in like 20 years. You know, in fact, I would bet money on it, because that's just how the trend cycle goes. I just want to thank you so much for coming back on the channel. I mean, everybody loved the last video that we did, and we actually have a couple of more ideas for this channel, but I also did a few videos for Nick's channel over at Stridewise. If you haven't checked them out, or if you haven't checked out Stridewise yet, you definitely should. I love his channel, and again, it inspired the humble beginnings of this one. So check out Stridewise. Do you have anything you want to say?
No, I just think your channel's really cool, and I'm really glad we got to work together.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah, we're fortunate we both live in New York City. Well,
Yeah.
New York.
New York.
Yeah, all right.
Is that you taking shots at me, dude? Like,
Long Island? No, you know what? Never mind. Cut that out.
I'm playing with you. I'm keeping all of that in. How am I going to explain this in the video?
No, we'll just like, I'll just be excited like that.
Well, in order to do that, aren't you going to have to snap first?
Don't worry.
What do you, I have to edit this. Of course I'm going to worry.
I just said I'll put it on. And if not, it's funny if like, if it's funny if you do it with no explanation at all.
Right, okay.
But also it's funny if it's just like.
Hold on, wait, can we just see something? Throw these dumbass glasses on. Yo, he looks so cool. He looks cool as shit, dude.